of today's khutbah is Ahkam Siyam, the rules of fasting during the month of Ramadan. The legislation of fasting during the month of Ramadan, the legislation of fasting itself took about 3 stages. The first stage, the first of the stages is legislating a day fasting during the year, which is fasting on the 10th of the month of Allah al-Muharram, which is known as Ashura. Then Ashura was legislated based on the hadith, based on the report from Al-Rubai' bint bint al-Muawwid. Al-Rubai' bint Muawwid. The Prophet ﷺ legislated the fasting of Ashura. They used to fast it, and that they used to encourage their children to fast it in a way that they will make something which will keep them busy, that they will be playing with, in order for it to rather to take their attention from disturbance that maybe they want to break the fasting, something that will just keep them busy. Then the second stage of the legislation of fasting happened in the month of Ramadan, which Allah Azza wa Jalla legislated the fasting of the month of Ramadan, but with option. Either you have option of fasting it or you feed in place of fasting. Then the third of the stages is the legislation of the fasting of the month of Ramadan with no option, except with necessity, that will make you to feed instead of fasting, which inshallah will come to them. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, today marked 28th of Sha'ban, which we are expecting, hoping to see the moon tonight or tomorrow. When the moon is sighted, then, and the announcement is made from the king, then it is legislated upon each and every one of us to comply and fast tomorrow. If otherwise, then we don't wait for any instruction from the leader again. Then we'll start the fasting next tomorrow. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, the month of Ramadan is a month of servitude. It's a month of ibadah, worshipping Allah Azza wa Jalla. It is also the month of piety. It is the month of invocation, supplication. It is also the month of seeking for forgiveness. It is the month of remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Determined in the remembrance of Allah, it is the month of Quran, based on the statement of Allah, Shahr Ramadan, alladhi unzila fihi al-Quran. It is the month of mother generosity. No part of the sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he used to be the most generous of people. Even on a normal day, the Prophet Sallallahu is generous, but his generosity skyrockets during the month of Ramadan. That is part of the sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Then the fasting of the month of Ramadan is also a month of rahmah, mercy. The month of barakah, blessings. It is also the month of obligatory and rather voluntary act of worship. In fact, if you are good to doing your best in serving Allah, in doing a lot of hasanat, being generous, doing an act that will be beneficial to you, then the best period for you to be generous, to also determine to serve Allah, it is the month of Ramadan. The month of Ramadan is the month that Allah Azza wa Jalla legislated fasting in it. In his statement in Surah Al-Baqarah, O ye who believe, fasting, kutiba alaykum siyam, fasting during the month of Ramadan, or the fasting has been made legislated upon you, it has been made mandated, compulsory upon you, as it was made upon those before you. There's a nation before the nation of the Prophet ﷺ. Meaning, every nation, Allah Azza wa Jalla legislated a particular fasting upon them. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, in order for you to develop mother piety. Meaning, fasting during the month of Ramadan increase someone in piety. Also, from evidence that also shows that fasting during the month of Ramadan is also compulsory, and as well, there is bushra, a kind of glad tidings that the Prophet ﷺ used to give to the Sahaba. He will say, as established in the Sunan al-Nasa'i, narrated from the ahadith narrated from Abi Hurairah, the Prophet ﷺ will say, Atakum Ramadan. Ramadan is approaching. The Ramadan has approached. Ramadan is here. Shahrun Mubarak. It is the month of blessing. It is a blessed month. In his statement, Shahrun Mubarak, the scholars of transmission, they now use that word that it is not it is not haram for you to tell your brother or someone that Shahrul Mubarak, Ramadan Mubarak, because it is established from the statement of the Prophet ﷺ. But Ramadan Kareem is not established. If you meet someone on the road, Ramadan Mubarak or Shahrul Mubarak, this is what is established. The Prophet ﷺ now mentioned that فَرَضَ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ عَلَيْكُمْ سِيَامًا, that Allah Azza wa Jalla has legislated fasting in it upon you. And in that month, meaning the point of reference here, that Allah has legislated fasting in it during that month, in the month of Ramadan. And in that month, in the month also, all the gates of Jannah, the 8 gates of Jannah will be opened. All of them. Allah will open them to encourage you to do good deeds that will qualify you to enter Jannah through the gate which is called Al-Rayyan, that is the gate that the people of fasting during the month of Ramadan, the voluntary fasting that will enter Jannah through that gate. And in the month of Ramadan, Allah Azza wa Jalla will close or lock down all the gates of hellfire. Rather, all the gates of hellfire will be shut. Allah will close all of them and none of them will be opened. 8 gates of rahmah, 7 gates of punishment. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, Mother, rahmati sabaqat ghadabi, that my mercy override my anger. To show how merciful Allah Azza wa Jalla is to us, He created the Jannah to have 8 gates of rahmah, and the hellfire is created with just 7 gates of adab. May Allah protect us from the torment of hell. Amen. May Allah count us among those who will enter Jannah through all the 8 gates. Amen. And he now mentioned that in the month of Ramadan, the rebellious of the jinn, of the devils, will be shackled. They will be chained in order for them not to have access to you. You know, on a normal day, whenever we disobey Allah, we say shaitan. Whenever we misbehave or we commit indecency, we blame shaitan. The rebellious of them will be chained. They will not have access to you. And the rebellious are those that Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned regarding them. They are the devils that spy or try to hear what the discussion of the angels, which Allah Azza wa Jalla protected the heavens with mother sky. He said, "Inna zayyana as-samaa ad-dunya bi zinatin al-kawakib wa hifdhan min kulli shaytanin marid." Those are the angels that Allah Azza wa Jalla talked about them in the beginning of Mother Surah Al-Saffat. All those devils will be shackled. And the Prophet said that there is one night hidden in the month of Ramadan, and that night is towards Mother. There is one night hidden in the month of Ramadan, even though it's not mentioned where Mother, the night fall between when to when. The night is between the last 10 days or 10 nights of the month of Ramadan. You know, say fihi layla, there is one night hidden. Khayrun min alfi shahr. That night is better than 1,000 months. Meaning, if you are doing an act of obedience, an act of worship, servitude to Allah Azza wa Jalla, and you coincide, and your deed coincide that night, you will be written someone who stand worshipping Allah Azza wa Jalla for 83 years and some months, 80 years plus, worshipper of Allah Azza wa Jalla. لذلك, my dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, let's be determined to serve Allah Azza wa Jalla in a way that Allah will, in a way that will be qualified to this mercy of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Because Islam now say that night, man hurima khayraha, whoever is deprived from the goodness of that night, indeed that person is deprived. Meaning that person is a loser. That's why even in another statement of him, that khaba wa khasir, that may he lose, may he be destroyed. Who? Man adraka Ramadana wa lam yughfar lahu. Whoever Allah Azza wa Jalla prolong his life to witness the month of Ramadan and he come out of the month unforgiving, that person is a loser. Because there are a lot of mother gifts, a lot of bonuses in the month of Ramadan. In it, the Prophet ﷺ said that mother, من صام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. من قام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. من قام ليلة القدر إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. In this month, a lot of bonuses. For you to get to live till the month of Ramadan, your previous sins are forgiven. And you also standing behind the Imam, observing Taraweeh, also Iman, out of sincerity, seeking reward from Allah Azza wa Jalla, your previous sins are forgiven. And for you to also live till and witness the last 10 nights of the month of Ramadan, observing Tahajjud with Mother Imam, also your sins, your previous sins are also forgiven. For that, there is a lot of bonus in this month. And in this month, Allah Azza wa Jalla legislated its fasting upon every Muslim, provided you are in a state of sanity. Also, you have reached the age of maturity. You are sound, not that you are sick, and you are a resident. You are not on a journey. Fasting is legislated upon you. And for the women that are in a state of purity, fasting of the month of Ramadan is legislated upon them also, provided you are not in a state of menstrual cycle or postnatal bleeding. Respected brothers and sisters in Islam, part of the glad tidings of the Prophet ﷺ as established in the authentic book of Imam al-Tirmidhi from the ahadith narrated from Abi Hurairah, Abdul Rahman bin Safwan al-Dawsi. He said, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned also that when the first night of the month of Ramadan is here, all the shayateen are shackled, and also the rebellious among them, all the 7 gates of hell are locked, and none of them will be opened. Then the 8 gates of Jannah are opened, all of them, and none of them will be closed. Then a caller will call with a loud voice, he will call crystal clear voice. He will say that, Ya Baghi al-Khayr, oh, the doer of mother goodness, the one who always loves to obey Allah, come forward, this is your month. And oh you, the seekers of evil, the one who always find easy to disobey Allah, not serving Allah, abstain from what you are doing. For in this month, Allah Azza wa Jalla freed his slave from hellfire, and that happened in every single night of the month of Ramadan, from day 1 till the last day of the month of Ramadan. There are people that Allah freed from hellfire. May Allah count us among them. Amen. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, from the rulings or the rules of fasting is that establishment or citing the crescent of the month of Mother of Ramadan. When the crescent of the month of Ramadan is cited and the announcement is made from the leader, it is legislated upon you to fast. You don't need to wait and see the moon crystal clear with your eyes before you kickstart the fasting. You wait for the announcement. When the announcement is made, it is legislated upon you to obey the leader and kickstart the fasting. And when the announcement is not made like today, then Sha'ban has to be counted to 30. Then the next day, you don't wait for any announcement. It is legislated upon you to kickstart the fasting. This is part of the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, which he mentioned that mother sumu li ru'yatihi, fast when it's sighted, wa aftiru li ru'yatihi, and break your fasting, meaning and break your fasting when it's sighted, meaning when the crescent moon of Shawwal is sighted, then you give up fasting. فَإِنْ غُمَّ عَلَيْكُمْ, when the cloud overcasts you, not allowing you to sight or to see the crescent moon of the month of Ramadan, فَأَكْمِلُوا شَعْبَانَ ثَلَاثِينَ, then count the Sha'ban to 30. That is the statement of the Prophet ﷺ, and it is a command. If you go ahead disobeying your leader, obeying any scholar, no scholar, no imam, no matter how that person is, has the right to dictate to you on when to fast. That one is from the leader, the one whom Allah Azza wa Jalla appointed to serve. That is the one that is called Sarki Muslimi. Is the Sultan, the leader that has the right to make the announcement. When the announcement is made, then you fast. When the crescent is not sighted, you don't wait for announcement from him again. The next day, kickstart the fasting. Ramadan is counted already. Then, part of the rulings of the month of Mother, fasting during the month of Ramadan, is that you should make sure you are sincere in your intention. Purify your intention. Purify your intention in a way that you are fasting for the sake of Allah, not that I'm fasting to reduce maybe I'm too fat, I have to fast so that I will reduce, and other things like that. Fast, you are fasting, seeking out of sincerity and seeking reward from Allah Azza wa Jalla. Then that intention, what is meant by intention, resolving in your heart that when the crescent moon is sighted, or when the Ramadan starts, I will start with other people, with people also. Then, and that intention is not something which you define or which you mention with your tongue, that I intend to fast tomorrow when the crescent moon of the month of Ramadan is sighted, or when the Sultan declared, or when the Sha'ban completed 30. You don't need to mention that from your mouth. You going to bed and again waking up before Fajr to pick maybe your meal, or the drop or the mouthful water that you are about to take, is a practical application of mother intention itself. You don't need maybe the saying mentioning that, because saying it, pronouncing your intention is not part of the commandment of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, Ummuna and our mother, one of the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whose name is Hafsa bint Umar bin Khattab, said that whoever did not resolve in his heart to fast before the dawn, meaning before Fajr, then that person does not have fasting for that day. Then part of the rulings or part of the rules of fasting is the early morning meal. That is the sahur that we take. There is barakah in it, and it's an established sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which he mentioned that the distinction or the difference between our fasting and the fasting of the people of the book, the Jew and the Christian, is the pre-dawn or the early morning meal. You have to take that early morning meal. You not taking it does not invalidate your fasting, but you have deprived yourself from the barakah in it. You know, my dear respected brothers and sisters, don't think maybe someone that not take the pre-dawn meal or the early morning meal does not have fasting. His fasting is there, but he or she has missed a gift of the barakah in that meal. For that, the difference between our fasting, what distinguishes our fasting from the fasting of the people of the book, is that early morning meal. Try to take it, because the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that in another hadith narrated by Anas bin Malik, said tasahharu, in a form of command. take that early morning meal. فَإِنَّ فِي السَّحُورِ بَرَكَةً. For the early morning meal, there is blessing in it. With that, my dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, try to take the early morning meal. In another version of the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said that take the early morning meal, just repeating it, even if it's a mouthful of water that you can take. Try to take it. And part of the sunnah also that you should delay that early morning meal. Don't take your early morning meal 3 o'clock in the 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock or 2:30 and say you have done sahur. You have not did sahur. Sahur is expected to be taken mother prior to the time of Al-Fijr, very close to the time of Al-Fijr. And the Prophet ﷺ also mentioned that those that are taking sahur, that early morning meal, Allah and His angels are making supplication upon that person. For that, if you want to be among those whom Allah and His angels will make supplication upon, then try to take the early morning meal. Even if you don't feel like eating, take something, date, water, or anything, take it. Then hastening in breaking fasting is part of the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Some say longer throat. It's not. As immediately as you just observe that it is time for Maghrib, for the Muaddin to make his announcement, and the Muaddin is in the masjid to pronounce the adhan. Try to take hasten in breaking your fast. You don't need to wait for the Muaddin to announce the prayer before breaking the fasting. Just check the time. When is the time of Maghrib? The time of Maghrib, or you look at it. When is going to be the sunset? Immediately the sunset, then hasten in breaking your fasting. But for the Prophet ﷺ said that people will remain in goodness provided they are hastening in breaking fasting. And also part of the sunnah or part of the ruling of fasting is supplication, which the Prophet ﷺ used to make when he take dates, three numbers of dates, odd numbers, 3, 5, 7, and upward. When he take it, he will now make this obligation. ذهب الظمأ وابتلت العروق وثبت الأجر إن شاء الله. That matter, the thirst is gone and the veins are moistened and the reward is established, inshallah, by the wills of Allah. This is the supplication that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to make. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, I'll close the khutbah with one hadith. We should know that fasting during the month of Ramadan, mother, is something which teaches what is called character, manners. A fasting person is not supposed to be shouting, quarreling with people, or fighting with people. It's not part of the Sunnah of the Prophet. That's why in the hadith that Imam al-Bukhari reported in his authentic book, from the hadith from the hadith narrated from Abu Hurairah, he mentioned, he said that man lam yada' qawl az-zuri wal 'amal bih, whoever does not give up mother falsehood is qawl az-zur, or statement that is of no benefit, just sit down and be making noise and other things, gossiping, slandering people, cheating and other things, or sending a wrong message come to you, you just send. You know, qawl az-zur is not limited to the statement that you utter from your mouth. It's also rather expanded to text message itself. Whoever does not give up falsehood, وَالْعَمَلَ بِهِ, and acting upon falsehood, with you they will sit down and be gisting or slandering people or bringing people's gist to you, and you are there ready to listening to it. Even if you do not utter anything, you have also engaged in that thing. You will be held accountable for you'll be held accountable against the statement that you made. مَنْ لَمْ يَدَعَ قَوْلَ الزُّورِ وَالْعَمَلَ بِهِ. In another wordings of the hadith, وَالْجَهْلِ, and quarreling or ignorance. Ignorance here does not mean lack of knowledge. Ignorance is part like fighting people itself, quarreling with people, making noise is part of ignorance. Then Allah Azza wa Jalla and the Prophet said that فَلَيْسَ لِلَّهِ حَاجَةٌ, Allah is not in need of you giving up your food and drink. Go ahead fasting. meaning you have no reward in your fasting, or your reward is there, but all these things has devoured your hasanat, has eaten up your hasanat. You now come on the day of resurrection with nothing, no record. May Allah save us from all these things. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla, we solicit Allah Azza wa Jalla to prolong our life to witness the month of Ramadan, from the beginning of it to the end of it. سبحانك الله صلوا على النبي اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا واستر عيوبنا وتجاوز عن سيئاتنا. اللهم بلغنا رمضان، اللهم بلغنا رمضان، اللهم بلغنا رمضان. اللهم ارزقنا قبل الموت توبة، وارزقنا عند الموت شهادة، وارزقنا بعد الموت جنة ونعيما. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون، وسلام على المرسلين. قوموا إلى صلاتكم.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم ملك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين ومن يطوع خيرا فهو خير له وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هديكم ولعلكم تشكرون الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم ملك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. لقد صدق الله رسوله الرؤيا بالحق لتدخلن المسجد الحرام إن شاء الله آمين إن شاء الله آمنين محلقين رؤوسكم ومقصرين لا تخافون فعلم ما لم تعلموا فجعل من دون ذلك فتحا قريبا هو الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.